Hello friends, welcome or welcome back. I'm Corinne and this is my channel where we like to talk about all things creativity and coziness and knitting and writing and all the things. Darcy is here wondering why I am walking around, but I am gathering some bits because first off, we're going to talk about books and blocking because I spent the weekend reading, recovering from being sick, whipped through a bunch of books, and I have some knitting that is finished and I need to block. So we're gonna go into the office and talk about it all. And also, I got a haircut. Don't tell me what you think. I'm not sold on it yet. I wanted something, I wanted a couple inches off. I wanted to feel lighter. I wanted a change. And it hasn't quite been a week. And I'm not sure. Short hair has kind of been like the fallback. So I should be used to it, but it's been a long time since it's been this short, and I just don't know. I don't know. And I also haven't been spending a lot of time styling it, so that could be it. But anyway, let me put the camera down and let's get into this stuff, okay? Actually, before we do that, I finished this top over the winter. It's the Magna Flora sweater. It is definitely cropped. I've got it on with a skirt. Let's go over to the mirror and then I can show you, okay? So yeah, it's definitely cropped. I don't mind it. I kind of like it. It feels a little sassy. And then this skirt, you can see I've got my slippers on also. It's just, I guess, a midi length. I don't know. But I think it goes well. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's comfortable. I like the drape of it. Yeah, this is really the first day that I'm wearing it. And I think it's going to be one of my favorite pieces for the summer. Okay, so we're in the office because it's a nice quiet space, and that's really why I keep coming back in here to film, because the rest of the house, there's so many comings and goings this summer that it's best just to be in here where it's nice and quiet. So yeah, this week is supposed to be a beautiful week out, and it's overcast and cloudy now, but it's supposed to be mostly dry, which means that it's good weather for blocking hand knits. Even though it's going to be inside. Let me close this. Let me start over, like a zoop, 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 rewind. So this month is a busy month. Life's busy, life's crazy for everyone. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about or focus on here this month or this week even, but I think we're going to focus on blocking 2 hand knits that are finished and in need of it. And for those of you who are not maybe knitters or who are maybe new to knitters, blocking is the period where, or not a period where, it's when you have finished a knitted object, but you can see how it's all like rolled up and whatever. What we're going to do is submerge the knitted items in a bath with some wool wash, just a gentle soap. Let it soak for a little bit, and that helps the fibers to relax. It helps the stitches to relax. You just end up with a more polished end product. It really lets the yarn bloom and come into its own. Like, it's a transformational process. So I have 2 pieces, one which I know I have talked about quite frequently, and I think I even showed you it finished. This is the Purl Soho half and half wrap that I knit for my daughter. I knit it for Paige for her to take to college with her in the fall. It is knit in linen quill. It is gigantic, it is soft, it is lovely. but it needs a bath. So we're gonna do that. And with the weather being dry this week, it will just be a little bit easier for the knitting to dry. It air dries. So we'll lay it out flat. I'll show you how I do it in just a minute. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. This week we are going to, I'm gonna show you it blocking, and then we'll come back at the end of the week and I'll show you what they all look like finished up. And that's kind of what I want to talk about with books too, because I'm in the process of reading one that I want to finish by the end of the week. So I want to talk about it and then circle back. And at the end of the video, at the end of the week, I'll let you know what I think about it in the end. All right, so that was the first knit. I am all over the place. It feels like it's been a little while since I've done a video. I know it's only been like 2 weeks, but that downtime, like you get out of the practice, you get out of the flow, and it feels a little funky. So I'm just gonna keep showing up like myself, y'all. Like, that's the best I can do. And right now, my mind is in like a million different places, getting into the summer mode. I've got a lot of different work things on my mind. I'm working on a novel. I'm working on some offerings that I want to put out into the world. It feels like a jumble. So blocking and books are two like tangible things that I can do this week to kind of sink into what actually is in this moment. All right, so the second thing that I have finished is the Campside kerchief by Alicia Plummer. And this is just a teeny tiny little shawl. It's like a mini shawl. It's a kerchief. I should be able to, yeah, I can tie it. And I will write in the description below what it's made out of. I think this is, I can picture what it is. I think it's called Campside, Camp something. Kilburn Wools, Camp something. I will put it in the description below. It's made out of one skein, which is lovely. So the blocking is just gonna let this sit a little bit nicer as I'm wearing it. So that's the second piece. So what I think we should do is block these and then come back and we'll talk books, okay? Thanks for sticking with me today. Blah, 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 blah. Like, whew, all over the place. All over the place.
I wrote a note the Sunday, symptoms like how I forget. Then washed my pants on Monday, forgot I had it there in the pocket for the doctor, but my writing wasn't vague. What to do, where are the words to tell them I'm doing okay?
Okay, so that's soaking. That's really what I wanted to get going. We're gonna let those soak in the water. And so I just use warm water and a little bit of wool wash and let it soak until the water comes up to room temperature or until I've gotten bored waiting for it to soak. It's not, I'm not a fussy knitter. I'm not a fussy blocker. I'm not fussy with my hair. Like, I'm not a fussy person in general. So we'll just let that soak and do its job. We'll talk books and then we'll lay it out and then let the week progress as it does. I do want to show you a little up close the lace work on this. The Magniflora, I'm so pleased with it. And this, the blocking of something like this is really important because with the lace, much like the Campside kerchief, because there's some eyelets and things, you really need to let it block and lay flat to let the pattern come out and the pattern and the wool to really dance together. So that's what we're gonna let it do. All right, over the weekend, I was not feeling well at all. I had a summer cold like come back around and really hit me and knock me off my feet. I was exhausted. And I tried to film. I actually filmed something on Friday and watched it back and was like, nope, this is not happening, not going to be shared with the world. Because I had been to physical therapy for some ongoing pain, and small little update that went really well. The physical therapist explained things that had not been explained to me, and she listened. I felt heard. I felt like I was a participant in my health, which is always a good thing, to be invited into your own, healing journey. And yeah, that was a really positive thing. But I was also coming down with a cold. And so I was kind of a blubbering mess on that video. And while I'm not opposed to being vulnerable and even crying on camera, this was something else. So I took a little break instead, and I read all weekend long. And it was exactly what I needed, like exactly what I needed. And sometimes you got to do that because, like I said in the beginning, like life is crazy right now, I think, for everybody. And what I wanted to talk about in that video that will never see the daylight is overwhelm and the ways in which we are all feeling it. And yeah, just it comes at us from all directions sometimes. And then sometimes that what you really need is a break and rest. And you have to take it where it comes. We luckily had a weekend where nothing was planned, which is not always the case. And I took every opportunity I could to be sitting down, resting with a cup of tea and my books. So I want to get into it. I finished Hello Beautiful, and I cried a lot during this book. The relationships it showed, it felt very real to me. And I don't always do this, but I went on to Goodreads afterwards to see what other people thought, and the reviews were quite mixed. And some of the reasons I felt like the book felt real to me, other people felt like that would never happen. That was unrealistic, blah, 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 blah. And I think it just has to do with probably whatever lens you're coming to this book with. If you and whatever lens you view relationships through, and what your personal history with family relationships, sibling dynamics, all of that, what your expectations are, what types of communication styles happen in your family, like all of that, because this touches on some challenging, dysfunctional dynamics, and they tugged at my heart. And the characters, two of them in particular, one I didn't care for so much, and then I got curious around that to understand why. But two of them they tugged at my heart in a big way. And the journey that this author took the characters in was really interesting. And the nods to Little Women, I think, were also very interesting. It wasn't like, I'm not a huge Little Women fan. I don't know that I've read it from start to finish. But I appreciate the story, and I appreciate the themes, which we all know about. And I appreciate how that was, to me, lightly woven in. To others, you might have seen it more overtly, but check it out. I really enjoyed this, really and truly. I recommend it. with the caveat that it's not for everyone. The second book that I whipped through Saturday and Sunday was The Artist and the Feast by Lucy Steeds. Look at that cover. And this book was recommended to me by my friend Angie. Thank you, Angie. This was a lovely read. It takes place in France in the 1920s, I think it's 1920s. So after the First World War, which greatly influences the book. It's about an artist, his niece, and a reporter. And the reporter comes out to interview and do a piece on this recluse of an artist. No one is granted interviews with him, but somehow this reporter has gotten a letter that says, yes, please come to visit. And he's swept into this artist's world for a summer. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away. But I really enjoyed it. I got swept up into it almost instantly. I loved the writing. I loved the story behind it, and I loved how we were dished out information. I think that is something it's something that I'm paying really close attention to as a writer, learning how to pace how things are told. Just the finding out of I'm still not all with it thanks to my stuffy head, but just how we find out information, how a story is told, and this one was a masterclass. So check this one out. And the last book I have not finished, and this is one that I would like to finish by the end of the week. So maybe I will bring you with me some of the places that I go and some of the places that this book goes to. This one, lots of people are talking about, including my friend Tracy. She shared about it last week, the week before, and I thought, all right, if Tracy's reading it and likes it, I'll go ahead and put it on the library request list. And sometimes when a book is super hyped up, I end up not enjoying it. And then I feel kind of, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have that experience too, where if a book has been overly hyped up and it doesn't live up to the expectations, you're kind of left feeling like, what does everybody see in this? I am a quarter of the way into this book, which I will tell you what it is in a minute, and I don't think it disappoints. So I am reading Theo of Golden by Levi, probably. And when I sent Paige to the library to pick this up, the librarian said, well, you got your hands on the book that everybody wants right now. And Paige had no idea what they were talking about. But it is a very hot book at the moment. And I think there's good reason for it. There's a particular type of storytelling that happens with stories that take place in the South. It feels like, because I think this takes place in Georgia, it feels like it has a Southern drawl to it. And it feels like there's some hot summer vibes, like not Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Wasn't that a book that took place in the South? But it has a quality about it, a mystery. There's a bit of a mystery. There's a bit of wonder. There's a lot of really sweet moments. And within the first couple chapters, I would say, I was texting Tracy to say, how is it that I am 6 chapters in and I'm already teary over this book? Humanity, kindness, generosity, all of those things. And again, I think, a masterclass already in pacing of discovery as a reader. And I am very much enjoying it and cannot wait to see what the rest holds. So these are the books that I have devoured, and I feel like they're getting me out of a little bit of a reading slump. Yeah, I don't know why I wasn't excited about a lot of the things I was reading. I don't remember what I was reading that made me feel that way. But anyway, I find it so rare to read like 3 bangers in a row, like truly. But I think these are fantastic books. All right, that's probably enough time for the knitwear to soak. So let's go check it out and get them ready and get them all laid out.
Red dots and it's been a moment since I saw you last. Let's meet up, promises all feeling like a task. I think I lost it, but I'm all in, composed but off the rails. I'm doing okay, I'm doing okay. Through the corner of my window, playing catch. I wandered to the guitar, good company purring on my lap. Not a single worry to be had. Sunny side up, the only thing that's filling my brain. For now it's sunny side up, the reason that I get out of bed.
Hello again, friends. I have knitwear, I have a book, and we are back where we started. Happy Friday, happy whatever day of the week it is to you that you are watching. First and foremost, we're going to start with knitting, all right? This is the power of blocking. Do you remember what the Campside kerchief looked like before I blocked it? I will put a video up. And now, drum roll, please. Do. Isn't that incredible? You can see the eyelet. You can see, so on this one, there's an I-cord edging, which just makes it a really, let's see, you can see. Sorry, there we go. It's just a really nice finish of an edging with still a little bit of curl to make it cute, but do you see the difference? Do you see how wild that is? How much better it lays flat? Oh, and it feels a little bit softer. It's like the nicest finishing part of a knit garment. It's warm here today though. I have a shirt on. I was outside earlier and the mayflies, I am covered in bug bites and you don't need to see that. So I've got my long sleeve on. But yeah, so I'm super pleased with this. I will definitely wear it. Again, I think it was the Campside kerchief by Alicia Plummer, but I'll put all the information below. And then the transformation of the half and half wrap is not as large because of the stitch pattern and because of the already beautiful drape created by the size of the needle and the size of the yarn for that linen quill yarn. And again, all of the information is below. But yeah, this is it. It grew even bigger. And so what I love, but it smells like the wool wash, which has some lavender in it, and it smells like the yarn. It's heaven. So what's super fun about this is just, it's like a big blanket. You can wear it this way, you can wear it this way, you can just like wrap yourself up in it. You can use it as a blanket. It is one of the most versatile comfort knits that I've ever knit. And so this is the second one that I've knit. And then I have this one on the back of my chair that my friend Jess made for me, which was such a lovely treat. So I'm anxious to get another one of these on the needles. I will say that. Okay, so knitwear, that process. These things are all done. On to reading. So you saw me reading at several doctor's appointments, at home. I don't know if I showed you in the evening in bed or not. I can't remember. At the lake yesterday. And then I finished Theo of Golden yesterday afternoon. I had just a little bit left after our trip to the lake. Finn and I went for we were there for maybe an hour and a half or so. And it was lovely. I did go swimming. And oh my goodness, there was this lady who was on a paddleboard with her dog, and the dog was so sweet, and she just looked like the woman was having such a great morning. Like, she had like a mason jar of tea and was eating a bowl of like whatever she had in her bowl and just sitting there, and her dog was sitting there with her. It was so sweet. And yeah, I'd love to get on a paddleboard. I think that would be so fun. Finn and I looked at each other and we were like, next summer, not with a dog, because Darcy would not, that would not be Darcy's jam. But all right, so Theo of Golden, my real thoughts on this. There were so many moments that I cried. I mean, like, one of them was at the lake and I had my sunglasses on and I could barely see through the tears to the page. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm going to be very careful on how I talk about this book. There were so many beautiful moments, and there were so many hopeful moments. There were so many acts of kindness and views of humanity. And I know many of you, because I remember reading in the comments, many of you loved this book. Loved it. Said it was life-changing. Said it was so good. And it was good. I agree with you. And I understand. You know I'm ramping up for something when I start a conversation like this. I understand why this book is so highly rated. Why there's so many 5-star reviews of it. And I don't want anything that I say to take away from your love of this book if you loved it. Because it's beautiful. It's one of those books that I could see rereading and revisiting some of the characters, because the author did such an amazing job with some of these characters. They touched my heart, and he painted them beautifully with words. And they felt real and dynamic to me. And Theo was a character that yes, we could all aspire to his goodness and his kindness and his acts of kindness. I never, ever want to make anyone feel like they can't love what they love, all right? I appreciate this book. I understand the hype of it. I'm so glad that I read it, but it fell short for me in a few spots. And that's probably the lens that I see the world through. It felt to me, and this is going to sound probably funny, but almost too sweet, too good, too good. But if I suspend that part of my thinking, and if I don't investigate it, because it doesn't have to be investigated, it's a beautiful story full of incredible acts of kindness and human connection, and we need that. We desperately need that. So I think that if this book gets in the hand of somebody who needs those reminders, who needs to see and feel hope, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And at the same time, it's not a perfect book. It's really not. It's so good in so many ways, but one of the things, maybe because it's Pride Month, one of the things I desperately wanted was an LGBTQ plus character. I really wanted that in here. I think that would have, and I don't think there was one. And that to me felt like a missing piece of humanity. The author did such a wonderful job of showing so many different kinds of people that it just felt to me glaringly obvious that people that I know and love might not have been represented in this book, which is a choice. It's a choice. And it's, again, not every book needs to be for every person. I was just hoping, like by the end, I was hoping to see something, I don't know. I was just hoping for a little something like a little less saccharine sweet. And at the same time, the author did a brilliant job of incorporating a lot of other marginalized folks. He did a great job of recognizing the complexity of politics in humanity, politics in the South, assumptions that could be made on different, for different people. Like, he did a great job. But I wanted to give you my real thoughts on it because it's important. And my thoughts on this do not take away from any of your joy of this book. This book is joy. It is pure joy in so many ways. I mean, my God. It was, I have favorite characters. I have favorite moments. And like I said, I cried and it touched me deeply. And at the same time, there's always room for conversation about things that we like or don't like about books. And I just want to offer my 2 cents on that. And again, it should not change how you view the book. I feel like I try not to offend people. I really, really try not to offend people. And at the same time, it's okay for me to have opinions on things. You're here to spend time with me, and maybe you want to hear my opinion on something. If not, you can scroll away. But it was a complicated book, I thought, and I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. If you've read it. I was shocked. And again, I don't often do this, but I did it for the second time this week. I went on to Goodreads to see. And it's another very polarizing book. Like, there's a ton, excuse my almost foul language, there's a ton of 5-star ratings. And I don't think there's equally as many bad ones, but there's a strong number of people who have things to say about it as well. And so I think like the thing about sharing our thoughts about one thing on a video is that sometimes we miss the nuance because there isn't a back and forth. Like maybe you picked up on something that might make my questions about this book make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't have a back and forth, but I wanted to share about this because I started the week with it and I read it all week and I was excited to read it, and I'm glad I read it. I really, really am. It's very popular for a reason, and yeah, I will always remember crying my eyes out during one part of the book at the lake with Finn sitting next to me being like, Mom, are you okay? Looking out at the beautiful expanse of a lake, feeling that like, oh, we need human connection. We need nuance, and we need to give each other grace and understanding, and we need to see each other. That's what the message of this book was, and it was a beautiful message. We need to see each other, look each other in the eyes, listen to each other's stories, recognize ourselves in other people, and to remember that we don't know what's going on in someone's life all the time, most of the time. So I'm here for the nuance. I hope you are too, and I hope that you appreciate that. I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum, but I did have some feelings in this book, good and not bad, just like, that was an interesting choice, right? It's a choice that they're just interesting choices, and I am forever curious about writers, artists, makers, anyone who creates something, what the thought process was in these choices, because we have so many choices to make, especially when we're writing a novel. I know that very, very well, and I'm fascinated by it. And so that's what I want. I came to this book with curiosity, and I'm curious about my feelings about it. I'm curious about what was in it, what wasn't in it, and it's not good or bad. I think we get so caught up in this idea of something is either like amazing and fantastic or terrible, when really parts of it were incredible, parts of it were amazing, and other parts, and that's okay. We can have a wide range of feelings about books, movies, art, all of the things. So I could go on, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. So after reading 3, I will call this a banger of a book, like 3 bangers, but all were pretty heavy in some ways. I'm looking for a light read next. So my question for you this week is, what light summary books are you enjoying? If you like books of that variety, I'd love to get some recommendations. I'm working my way through my bookshelf a little bit, and hold on. I had a hard time sleeping last night, so I started this one that I'd gotten secondhand. I don't remember who recommended it, but I saw it somewhere. The House on Willow Street by Kathy Kelly. It takes place in Ireland, and it sounds like it's about 2 sisters and a postmaster. Yeah, so I just started it. It feels very light, easily digestible, and the setting is gorgeous, but I know nothing really about how it's going to turn out. I don't want to recommend it, but this is what I'm reading now. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you're reading. Also, what you're knitting, if you're knitting, or what you're making. I would love to know what you're making these days. I am still working on my Cozy Memories blanket. I haven't started another big knitting project. I think I might cast on some socks in the next week or so, but the Cozy Memory blanket is made up of little squares of scrap yarn, and it's getting pretty big, it might be fun to set a goal for myself to finish it by the end of the year. I think that's definitely possible. But yeah, those are the things that I'm working on. Reading, knitting, writing, always. Yeah, and just ready for the weekend. So I'm fading. Like I said, I didn't sleep well last night. Maybe it was digesting Theo of Golden. But I will see you soon. I think the next time I see you, I might be rearranging my desk area. I'm really tired of how my desk is sitting. So we might do some like rearranging of the furniture, and I thought maybe you guys might want to come along for that ride. So thank you as always for being here, and until next time, stay cozy, be well, and I will see you very, very soon.
Lay down again, oh, I'll be with you in the same